Welcome back to Brent Tang. I'm Brent Barnett. I'm going to show you guys a new product for 2017, and I ask myself all the time, why hasn't this been thought of before? Those of you that like to play racks, you really need to pay attention. So here we have the GCS 500H. This is a height adjustable curved rack. And I know what you guys are thinking, but Brent, all of your racks are height adjustable. And yes, you are right. But however, once you lower the crossbar, you still have an excess of vertical tube on each side. Now, depending upon your setup, the excess vertical tube may not work. Maybe you want it to look a little bit cleaner. So the only option then is to cut the vertical, and then you're stuck at the height that you've lowered your crossbar to. However, this rack allows you to adjust the height vertically, keeping the crossbar right at the top of the verticals. Gives you a height adjustability of 21 inches low to all the way to 36 inches high. We have 15 inches of adjustability here. Now, maybe you want to use it as a low profile side rack on each side, or maybe you want to use it as a front rack right over your bass drum. I mean, you could use this with an 18-inch bass drum all the way to a 30-inch bass drum. I mean, it's a very versatile rack, and it'll allow you to get your setup comfortable exactly where you need it without having to cut anything. Let's do away with cutting if we can. So let's have a look at the components that come with this rack. We have a 46-inch curved crossbar. We have 2 cymbal boom arms. We have 2 multi-clamps and 2 hinged memory locks. Now, to lock the curved bar in place, we have 2 slip-on memory locks. Now let's have a look at this height adjustment leg. As you can see, there are 2 components here. We have a lower unit and an upper unit. The lower unit is our 1.5-inch tubing. It's the GSMP, which is 14 inches tall. This is the tube that you see on all the stealth racks that we have. Now the upper unit is our height adjustment extender tube. Now this is an 18-inch long tube with 2 different diameters. Now the smaller diameter is 1.25 inches and it's 15 inches long. So this is what telescopes down into the bass tube. The larger diameter is 1.5 inches and there's 3 inches of this particular diameter to allow you to connect a clamp to it so you can connect your crossbar. Now what's really cool about this is that we have the height adjustment notched, so it's numbered. So if you want to raise this 3 or 4 inches, you move it up to number 4, and you can go to the other side and do the exact same thing without having to use a level. You know just by looking at it that both of your legs are at the same height. So here's a closer look of the height adjustment extension tube. The larger diameter of 1.5 inches, we have 3 inches long of this to attach the clamp to it. Now the lower diameter is 1.25 inches, so it allows you to telescope down into the bass tube. The numbered notch markings, I'm on number 7, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way down to number 14. I can loosen the tube joint, I can slide it all the way down, or I can raise it all the way up, depending upon what height I need it at. Okay, so here's what it looks like with drums added. I've got a 5-piece kit, 2 rack toms, kick, snare, floor tom, 2 crashes, and a set of hi-hats. Relax, I'm gonna add the ride cymbal. I'm just showing you guys something first. Well, I've got the 2 tom arms mounted inside the clamps, and then I added RBAs to each one of the legs so that I could mount the cymbal boom down inside of the leg. Now, to give you guys some perspective, this is a 22-inch bass drum. I have this on notch marking number 5, so I could still lower this 5 more inches if I want to. Keep in mind, this is hovering right over the top of the bass drum right now. I could use a 16-inch drum with this. Yeah, I know, it's crazy, but I've done it before, and I know some of you out there have too, so you know who you are. But let's go ahead and lift it a few more inches and see what it looks like. So here we are at 9 inches. Let's take it up a little bit more. So we're at notch number 13 here, and those of you that play a 32-inch bass drum, this is probably the notch for you. I could go up 1 more, but I think you guys get the idea. So to take this a step further, I turned this into a 3-sided curve rack. I added a 46-inch curve bar to the left and right side, And to the back leg, I use the GSMP, which is the same vertical bar that I'm using on the front side of each of the height adjustable racks. Now, what's really cool about this is that these crossbars are very low to the ground. They're only 14 inches off the ground. So everything is going to be very stealth-like. It's going to be very clean and simple, but you're still going to be able to mount a ton of gear. Another way this rack can be used is in a side rack type of setup. I've got two of them here, so I've got a GCS 500H on my left side and on my right side. And I have it positioned down as far down as the rack will go, so I get that low profile look. Now to mount my two rack toms, I added an RBA right out of the front leg of each rack so that I could have the rack toms hover right over the bass drum. So now I've got plenty of room to mount on my left-hand side and my right-hand side, and if I want to, I can still raise them up and then they become up here. So it's your choice, but there's plenty of versatility with this rack. Well, that's it for this week's episode. Thanks for watching. This height adjustment rack feature, I mean, let's just be honest, it's a game changer. If you want to use various size kick drums with one rack without having to cut anything, this rack will do it for you. Because we all know that once you cut it, it ain't coming back. Plus, the different configurations you can use to set up in give you unlimited options. So see you next time.